Welcome back to the Animanga Society. This is Jay-Z, your host. And this time with me, we have Retsu,
What's up, guys?
Joe,
Hello.
and the logo.
I got coffee today.
There you go. All right, this week we are moving on to Season 2 of My Hero Academia. I'm going to hand it off to my co-host, Retsu, to get us started.
All right. I want to say first, the very first thing you think about My Hero Season 2? The sports festival. Probably the best part,
easily.
or it's obviously the most prominent point of the season.
Yeah, but it's not the best.
I love the fights, so
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
excited.
the fights are great.
Does anyone want to introduce any of their new favorite characters or like new incoming characters into Season 2?
Of the students?
Yeah, just from the sports festival right now.
Oh, okay. Mine's by far Shinso.
By new characters, I would say, yeah, for sure.
I got Monoma.
Shinso's awesome.
I mean, his quirk is so different from anything else that we've seen so far, and the fact that, like, you know, later on we see somebody who has a somewhat similar quirk, but they're not exactly the same.
No, I know who my favorite one from season 2 is. Tetsu. Because his name,
I
number
do.
one, cracks me up. But the fact that him and Kirishima are the same person, both in quirk style, even though they're technically two different quirks, as well as just personality, it cracks me up. Plus, whose first name is also their last name. Like, that's just
Right,
freaking awesome.
right.
It's so funny.
Yeah. I do like Tetsu a lot. I don't know. Shinso is just more like, interesting, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Shinso reminds me a lot of Eraserhead.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like Monoma's quirk a lot, but I like
His quirk is busted.
I like in every anime or manga, anyone that can copy someone's abilities is just really cool by the end of the series normally. It's just
Yeah,
how
that's-
it works.
Let's start off
See,
with talking
Monoma's
about the new
quirk
characters'
is
quirks.
really cool, but I cannot freaking stand him. And I know
That's
we're not
where I'm
meant to
at.
like him, but
That's
it's
where I'm
like
at.
he's so annoying. I want to just like punch him every time I see him.
Who, Monoma?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
love characters that
his
get on your nerves.
You're going to debate with me on this? His quirk is wasted on him. There are
I'm
so
not
many
saying
better
anything.
people.
Not saying
There's so many
anything.
better people I feel could use that quirk than Monoma.
I mean, kind of. But he's pretty good at using it, though.
He is. I will give you that. He is really great at using it. But again, I just feel that quirk could have gone to somebody better. And
That's
we
fair.
haven't said it yet. His quirk is Phantom Thief.
Yeah.
No,
it's- yeah.
I thought that's his.
Well, no, that's his
That's
name. That's his hero
quirk is,
name.
Yeah, his quirk is the copy.
His quirk is just called Copy.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I
Which,
read that
as far as we know at this point, he can copy an effect or copy someone's quirk for up to 5 minutes.
Which I think it goes really well with his personality because he instigates people to come in contact with him, so then he can copy their quirk every single time.
Yep.
Or at least that's what he's trying to do.
Right.
But he does go a little over the top with the
I mean,
banter.
he could work on his physical abilities and just get close on his own, but that's fair, I guess.
I see
And
where you're
then-
coming from. Again, I find him so annoying.
Well, let's move on to the other character that we said we liked, Shinso. His ability is if you, I can't remember what it's called, but basically if you just answer him, if he asks you a question or says something to you and you answer him, he can control you.
Yeah.
I think it might
Quirk
be called brainwashing.
Yeah, brainwashing. That's it. Yep. His quirk's also busted.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty gnarly though to see, like, you know, I don't know if we're planning on going this far, but whenever he uses it against Deku in the tournament, you can tell how surprised he was when Deku managed to break out of the hold. and especially the way that he managed to do it, because in the fact that he broke his fingers just to create, but he did it unconsciously. So I mean, it's not like he necessarily planned on it, but you can definitely tell that he's not used to losing. You can really tell he's not used to losing.
Are there any other characters that we want to give honorable mentions?
So we'll do Tetsu because we talked about him. His ability. What's it? Steel? Is it called Steel?
I think so.
As in the metal, or like whatever it is.
Yeah, it is
I'm
called Steel.
checking.
So he
Yeah, 'cause-
basically hardens his skin to steel, just like Kirishima does.
Because Kirishima's, I think, is just called hardening,
Correct.
where
And then
Tetsu's is his quirk is steel.
Okay, and then there's only three others that I want to talk about. One because they get a lot of screen time. That's Kendo.
Yeah.
Her quirk is
Something
big
for
fist.
hands. Yeah, big hands
It's
or
called
big fist.
Her fist gets big, but she's like an interesting character. Otherwise, she's a martial artist. And then I just closed it.
Shiozaki.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ibara
Ibara
Shizaka.
Shiozaki.
yeah.
Yeah, she's super cool. I think her quirk's very unique, being
Yeah.
the
It's called
what is
Vines.
it? Yeah, her quirk is it's extremely powerful, almost for no reason too. Like it's not super overpowered, but it's very powerful. Because the fact she can use it to attack and defend at the same time, basically. Not a lot of quirks can do both at the same time. They're either one or the other. Like Kirishima, he has to either really harden to defend himself or strengthen his arms to attack. Like there's really no in between for him.
Right.
I feel bad for Kaminari, man. He probably would have beat most of the people in the Sweet 16 if it wasn't for her.
Right, but then he got up to her, and it just doesn't affect her. And then the last one that I want to talk about is Juzo Hananuki, aka Mudman. You barely get to see him. You see him a little bit in the cavalry event, but his quirk Softening, basically just turns the ground into mud.
Well, I mean, yeah, he
very powerful.
turned it into quicksand to stop them from moving.
Yeah.
Right.
He is
Right,
one of
it's a
the
very good
other.
quirk.
He's one of the recommended students. How like Shoto and Momo are. If you didn't catch on to that, Nick.
Oh yeah, because Momo talks about there's like a different.
Skill
There's a-
requirement.
Well,
like,
not just that.
prerequisite.
Even like you can definitely tell the people who were recommended and got in on that versus the people who worked their ass off to get to be able to be accepted. Like Momo even
Right.
talks about that.
Right, because she sees the giant robots, and she's like, "This is what they had to fight in the entrance exam."
Right.
All right, that's it for new students, because that's probably all the kind of important ones. 'Cause you definitely see all of them again.
Mm-hmm.
So let's actually start going through the sports festival.
Do you want to just go by matchup or?
No, the preliminary round or the obstacle course. So we'll talk about that first. What's some of the big moments in that?
I mean,
Do you
right
guys
away.
know before we do that, do you guys know the other student that got in on recommendations?
I don't know the fourth one. No.
It was I can't pronounce her name. It's like Togake. It's Setsuna Togake. She's the girl that like she can like put her body to like a million pieces and fly them around. That's how she got out of the, like,
we don't really see her until
Mhm.
next.
I think she got out of the ice
one of the
though,
future
first,
seasons.
right away. Like the three
Yeah.
other students that got in our recommendations all got out of
Right.
the ice in the preliminary round because they saw Shoto use his quirk in the recommendations exam before.
Right.
Mudman,
Which,
Momo,
I mean,
and
that's-
her. She like makes herself into small little pieces. It's like a split second on screen that you barely get to see.
Yeah, you don't really see it yet. You see it in the future, but her quirk is Lizard Tail Splitter. She can break her body up into 50 pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
And
good.
it regenerates. Like those pieces just die, and she just gets them back. Like she just regenerates them back, like immortal essentially at that point.
Right.
It's like when a
I
lizard
wish you
loses
guys
its
watched
tail.
One Piece because it's similar to one of the characters on there.
The clown dude.
Yeah. his devil fruit's so powerful, but he's just a clown.
We can go into the preliminary round. I just wanted to make sure that we knew
Right,
who the
right.
recommended student was.
Well, I mean, going back to what we were just talking about, like Todoroki using like in the very beginning of the preliminaries, whenever they find out about the obstacle course, like he basically just freezes everybody in place.
He freezes everybody and everything. A couple of people get out of it.
Yeah, and I mean,
and then another big thing is Momo shooting down the giant robots with her cannon that she made.
yeah, that was gnarly. I think it just goes to show, like, you know, she's powerful, but some things take time. Where, you know, whenever later on she's trying to create something small because she understands that I have to react quickly because something
Right.
bigger takes more time to make.
Right. In my
So-
opinion, she's probably the best support hero, period.
Yeah, she's intelligent. She has a decent battle sense. Her quirk allows her to make a lot of helpful utility pieces. So, you know, she definitely, you can see her going very far.
And then Bakugo being Bakugo, just flying through the air.
Well, yeah, I mean, whenever you think about it, the very beginning of it is Todoroki and Bakugo literally just basically vying for the lead.
Right. Yeah, and then in my opinion, the reason they lose is because they start fighting each other.
Correct. Oh, 100%.
And Deku steals the victory just because he uses his brain.
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, that's his best asset. I'm still absolutely convinced that he actually had a real quirk that no one caught up on. It was just useless. Or whenever he mutters.
I'm also still convinced
Dude,
about it. But
don't listen to these fantasies.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, like, there's no way that everyone has the profound impact that they do whenever he starts muttering and, like, kind of going into deep thought. It's like there's a show that came out a long time ago called Mission Hill, and one of the characters in the show would do something called bling blonging, where if he was trying to study or concentrate on something, he would literally say bling blong over and over and over again, or a variation of them. And it turns out that was actually like a real thing that the writer's roommate in college did, was he would bling blong to maintain concentration. I just feel like that's his like hidden ability.
Bling bang bang bong.
he's, yeah, right.
Get out. And you need to get
He's
out.
honestly just a fanboy, and that was his thing.
Yeah,
that he
he's
always
just
did.
scared to admit it. It rubs off on him every day. He hears it. So
All right, and then as I said, Deku wins.
Well, yeah, I
So-
mean, Deku pulls off like the greatest like overtake in sports history.
Yep.
What are you talking
Using
about?
the
Dodgeball, the
minds.
true underdog story.
Hey, technically, if you watch the movie, I actually just talked about this the other day. I just watched the movie, and fucking Peter LaFleur stepped out of the circle. He stepped out of the triangle. I watched it. Pause it right at the right time. You'll see he stepped out.
Oh man.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Nobody.
All right, let's move on to the cavalry battle.
Honestly,
I thought this one was goofy, bruh.
It is goofy.
it
It's
is
so
goofy.
goofy.
yeah, I was really not that like. I understand like the concept and the teamwork side of it, but it was just like a really weird event that they ran because I feel like it judged.
It was really to eliminate a crap
just
ton of more
teamwork.
kids. Yeah,
It was to eliminate a bunch and show teamwork.
Yeah, I mean it shows like they talk about you have to be able to communicate with anybody. You have to be able because you're going to be dealing with police officers, other heroes, sidekicks. So
Yep.
you ultimately do have to be able to communicate and be able to work with anybody on the battlefield. So I understand why they did it. It's just kind of a weird event, especially with the way that they dealt with points. Because like
Right.
there's an
Headbands.
astronomical difference in point values.
Yeah.
Well, they
Anyone
did it
who
on
ends up with
purpose.
Deku's the worst team could have ended up with Deku's headband and gotten in, and none of them would have won a single match in the Sweet 16. But they just got lucky enough to steal that one.
Yeah.
But I think it was cool how Bakugo like kind of way around the rules so he could fly and take
Yeah.
the headband.
Yeah, that was actually
Because
super smart.
as long as he doesn't land on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was cool to see Monoma's plan.
And it was cool to figure out at the end of that battle Shinso's quirk as well. Like those are 2 major things that will obviously go into effect later in the future. There are 2 quirks. in the next
Well, I mean,
upcoming seasons.
And by the end of the cavalry battle, you find out like something about his quirk, but you don't exactly know what happened. You don't find that out until the next round.
Right. Well, Ojiro kind of tells Deku how it works, sort of.
Well, yeah, to a degree, but he doesn't quite understand until after he gets in the ring.
Right.
Because he doesn't tell him that like the power allows him to be controlled. It just says he just says don't talk to him.
Right. Probably the biggest thing coming out of the cavalry battle for me is that Deku was able to use his power a little bit without hurting himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, I like the again continued intelligence show of Deku, the way he uses All for One to be able to.
One for all.
Or yeah, sorry, One for All. One for All, sorry. He uses One for All to be able to push Todoroki's fire away to be able to like stop his defense. Like just the thought process there, and even like Todoroki says that he wouldn't have thought that that was an option.
Another cool thing, or not cool thing, another important thing is you learn Tokoyami's weakness.
Yeah, daytime.
And you also learn kind of how his quirk works too, all at the same time.
Nighttime.
Daytime.
Literally Tokoyami to a T, but it's the reverse.
If Tokiyami fights anyone in the pitch black that doesn't have a quirk
Oh,
that
they're
has
screwed.
light, he will win no matter what. It's
They're-
impossible to beat.
I did have
Right.
I did have the conversation with Jay-Z the other day, and the fact that just because the best thing I have to go on is other animes, and like the fact that Tokiyome is his ability is very similar to like Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho, where the Dragon of the Darkness Flame, Hiei flat out says whenever he releases it, he doesn't have complete control and he has no say. Tokiyame has control of it in daytime, but he does specifically say that the shadow becomes very hard to control at night, and they also talk about he's much more offensive. So, in retrospect, he has control over his quirk, but to a point. Because his quirk has its like own sentience.
Well, he has control over it. I would say he has good control over it because he understands how it works and when to use it.
And it still throws me
But-
off that they throw a Naruto thing out there, and the fact that his hero name is Tsukiyame.
Well, yeah,
That
it's
just
a
makes
cool
sense.
name. Like, I'm like,
I know,
Makes
right?
sense, though.
So now I
Just wait
don't
till
know
you-
why. Anytime I think about whenever they refer to him as his hero name, I'm like, God damn it, Sasuke's here? Fuck.
just wait till you see what his room looks like. His freaking room is
Oh
awesome.
yeah, his room is his room cracks me up. It matches his personality so well.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it.
They do like in the future they do something where they go through all 20 students' rooms, and it's for the future, but it's really cool. You get to see everyone's room and how they decide to dress their room.
There's only a couple you don't get to see,
yeah, yeah.
but
I think
we're
it's
not,
because
but
they were
that's
doing
not,
stuff.
That's not
yeah.
important though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a quite fun episode. I love it.
Going back to the cavalry battle just a little bit more, whenever you look at the way that what's her name? The girl who invents.
Hatsume.
Looking at Hatume and the fact that, she gave everybody those abilities or the tools to be able to increase their quirks or to be able to give them assistance. Like even like their speed from that did not touch Ito's. Like once he used his quirk to the fullest ability, and I mean, granted, he does understand that he has a negative effect that comes with using it at that power level, but I mean, so does Deku, so does everybody else who once they
Literally
release
everyone, honestly.
once they release it to a certain point, but you do see ultimately how useful that could be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just that defective finishing blow that really is what could define the battle. And, he does have the potential to... It's like whenever you talk about UFC, like, they have a lot of finishing ability.
Yeah, there's only one other character that is as fast as Ida as of right now out of the students.
Gran Torino. Oh shit.
Out of
Out
the
of
students.
students.
The
is
students.
Okay, yeah.
Bakugo.
It's Bakugo, yeah. Being able to use explosions to propel yourself is fucking gnarly without even really a drawback. Like how Ida has a cooldown after he can't even move really after
Oh,
that. Yeah. We should probably get into the top 16 bracket now.
Mm-hmm.
Top 16.
Yeah, I really only wrote down a couple that we should even really talk about.
Yeah, most of them are over in basically one shot.
Yeah, like Kaminari's gone in one shot.
Well, his shot.
Yeah, his shot. Yeah.
Ashido wins in one shot. Tokoyami beats Momo in one shot. But other than that, Todoroki beats Sero in one shot. So other than that, they're all actual fights, kind of.
I mean, I actually don't remember. This is one I actually don't remember.
Kirishima and Tetsugetsu fought.
They
but
draw.
They draw.
They draw, and then they arm wrestle for the win.
Yeah, and that was actually amazing. I was like, dude, they're evenly matched. How is this gonna work?
It's the
And then
same
it finally-
quirk, man.
Yeah, I know. So then after that, kind of worked its way up.
That's one of my favorite things is their fight is just because you see them just going same pace, right at each other, same quirk, just one after another. And then it gets down where they're both tired and they're just single swinging at each other because they have no more steam.
Just because I don't remember, did Ashida beat Aoyama?
Yeah.
Yeah, she one shot him. She
Yeah,
like,
that's-
slid up to him and uppercutted him.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I forgot about that. I literally
He
can't-
literally does
can't-
nothing the entire
can't stop
Aoyama's
twinkling,
just terrible
bro.
this season.
Yeah,
All he
he's
does
so
is stare
bad
at
this
the
season.
camera. That's all he does.
I hated once you pointed that out because that's all I focused
That's
on.
all he
ever
does, bro. The whole show.
I don't know what it is, but he just does. Every scene.
Wait, he looks at the camera.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
looking at us.
He
It's
is
really messed
Deadpool.
up.
We'll just
Right,
wait until we
right.
get to like season 7 or 8 because I think if they do a season 8,
Yeah.
I don't know,
like
man. I don't
Aoyama's just gonna
know.
come out. He's just gonna be like freaking Deadpool, just played by Ryan Reynolds.
That would be freaking hilarious.
It would be.
Awesome.
We
Just
kind
because
of
I
hinted. Go ahead.
just because I want to talk about this because this did not get brought up, dude. I have to say, Uraraka versus Bakugo.
Well, we
like,
were gonna get there.
okay.
We
I was-
were gonna talk about the actual fights in this one.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I want to talk about that one last because I think that one's the best one of this round.
I would agree.
So
So-
let's talk about Midoriya and Shinzo first.
I mean, you see a lot for like plot base where Deku ends up seeing all the shadow people in the entrance as
Vestiges,
he's being
baby.
controlled, which you don't find out what exactly that is until a little while later.
Until he talks to All Might about it.
Yeah. Which I mean, we were able to figure it out just on kind of context as to what's happening. Which
When
all
I first watched this season and saw it, I'm like,
Yeah, I
who are
was like,
these
what?
people? Like what? Like
What is that?
is he seeing ghosts? Like I remembered All Might saying something about the quirk being passed down, but him seeing like past users, I'm like, wait, is that?
so
Can't be.
it
We
literally.
talked about it yesterday.
Yep,
You're
as
probably
soon-
gonna mention it right now.
I was gonna say, as soon as we get to that point where we talk about what that was, I'll explain how I envisioned it was instantly to Jay Z, and he pretty much said that I was right off the bat. It's I would say
I
it's
mean,
a
we can just talk about it right now. We'll
okay,
talk about
it's
it right now.
so. I had said as soon as I saw it, the first thing I thought of was Avatar: The Last Airbender. That they are the other avatars.
Essentially.
Yeah, that is literally the first thing I thought of. Is I was like, oh my god, it's the other. What is it? 9 holders.
It's the other users,
7.
yeah.
The other 7.
That
Or
are
He's the
holders of.
He's the 9th. All Might's
Oh
the
yeah,
8th.
he's the. Well,
Technically,
then there
he's
was
the
8
ninth.
there because All Might was there.
Yeah, All Might's vestige is there.
Yeah, Midoriya is the 9th holder.
Yeah. But there's also the where it started, which is number 1. So
Yeah,
it's not like it-
there's one. Yeah, there's. He's the 9th. There are 8 vestiges there. All Might's vestige is there, but All Might is still alive.
Right.
Correct.
Which shows that you don't have to be dead to be there. It's just because
but All Might can't put in his input as well as the others,
Correct.
which again we'll see that later. But
Yeah,
we'll
it's all
worry
about
that
the
when we get
DNA
to
of those
season
people.
5 and 6.
It's really
Right,
just about their
which-
DNA being in there.
Which that goes into, going further into my idea as to how it works of like when Aang is in the Avatar state, like he is partially controlled by all of the avatars who came before him. It's like the instincts of all of them.
Which is what broke him out of Shinso's
Correct.
brainwashing.
That's what broke him out of Shinso's brainwashing, and the fact that they knew he had to cause pain to himself to get out of it. So they forced it to happen. So that is actually a
snapped
really
his
cool
finger
piece
and-
of like building the lore. And honestly, I would say for me, that was what really picked up my interest for this show, was that particular moment.
Oh yeah. All right, let's move on to Ida versus Hatsume.
Literally the most useless fight of the entire set.
Yes, but like
But
I love
it's
Hatsume.
so great. Like, literally, Hatsume becomes one of my favorite characters down the road. When I first saw her, I'm like, this chick's gonna be useless. Like, this is pointless. Like, who is she and why is she even here if she's just gonna use it as a ploy to promote her stuff?
Because she's a support. She literally used it for marketing because of all the talent scouts that were there. Like for her,
Yeah,
that was
and
the best exposure she could have gotten herself.
When I first watched the show, I was like, she's going to be useless in this series. But going back through it and understanding who she actually is, I'm like, she's gonna be better.
Oh,
But
she
I
gets
still think
better,
that
bruh.
that fight was just like pointless in a way,
Yep,
but
yep.
it works.
Yeah, so she basically just does their sales pitch on all the stuff she gave Ida to use, and then walks out of the ring.
That's the best part, is when she just like, thank you everybody, good night, and walks out.
Love
Because
it.
even Midnight was like, okay, winner, Ida.
All right, now for the best fight of this round, and possibly second or third best in the whole thing. Bakugo versus Uraraka.
Dude, like Uraraka's thought process and how she planned to try to win is actually insane.
Oh yeah,
She thought ahead like Midoriya would. She was thinking of their battle sitting in the green room, essentially.
right.
Oh, yeah.
And Bakugo like understands that he can't let her get closer. Well, he wouldn't be done because his quirk is broken against hers, but still, he didn't let her get close. And then, I mean, he shows off his power by just saying no to her
Well,
big final thing.
Well, and that was the thing that unfortunately I came to realize, like, as soon as I saw, like, everything starting to rain down, I was like, oh, shit, this could be it. And then I was like, wait a minute. Bakugo's
Yep.
just going
He
to
just raises
vaporize
his arm.
everything.
It's 'cause-
Which is cool, but
But
Yeah.
again, you see her thought process in that. Of
Right.
She's like, I
You
have this
still-
big move planned that if he does what I think he's gonna do, I can use it against him.
right.
Well, and
It's
the-
a-
go ahead.
It's
So,
so like
in
it
a
makes you.
sense-
Oh, you're saying him. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, in a sense, I feel like that makes in this battle that makes Uraraka slightly smarter than Bakugo, just in this fight alone. I'm saying right now.
Correct.
Because she was thinking ahead, trying to find a way to beat him, even though he absolutely destroyed her in the end. Which, again, I was very sad to see. I wanted to see her
Yeah.
beat Bakugo so badly.
Oh, it wasn't gonna happen.
I knew it probably wasn't gonna happen, but I still wanted to see it.
Right.
But I really liked that. Again, they showed her thought process of it. And
Well, they break it
showing
down in the
that
green
just
room.
power is not everything.
They break it down in the green room, though, that she specifically realized that she's relying too much on Deku because she understands that he is smart, that he actually has a quirk that can... I mean, she doesn't exactly know what it is, but she knows he's strong as shit. So she understands that he will help her pass, but then she comes to that realization and realizes that she needs to rely on her own instincts, her own abilities, which you go to see that they're actually good. Like, she could... Because I originally was thinking that her quirk was going to be kind of useless, because I didn't put it into a bigger picture of what she could do with it, or how much she could control. And then once you see, oh, she literally can take any piece of debris and just start floating it. I mean, granted, it's going to go into... I feel like it's going to cause a strain on her by how much she's controlling. Like, there are, quirks that you see a little bit
When
later
she
on in
uses
the
it too
season.
much, she gets sick.
Yeah.
But
No, I thought it was only when she had herself upside down with it she got sick.
oh yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
it's
yeah,
motion
yeah,
sickness.
Yeah, you're right. When she uses it on herself, she gets sick. But honestly, if she fights anyone that's not extremely fast or has a way
mobile.
to maneuver if they're in the air, she wins. She just wins.
Pretty much. All she has to
think
do is
this-
touch you.
Bakugo's a bad matchup because
Yes.
even if she makes him float, he can move. He's fine.
Yeah, he has full mobility.
I think this was the very first, not the very first time, but one of the times where people started to like Bakugo as a character because of what Aizawa said.
Right.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Also by what Bakugo says about Uraraka.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I hated those people in the crowd telling him to.
Yes.
To, like it's this is to prove how good they are at using their quirks to get internships. He should not have to hold back. He should be able to go all out. And his strategy from the beginning was keep her away and let her wear herself out. And that's all he knew he needed to do. So he did it. And he knew she like if she touched him, there was a good chance that the matchup would be 50-50 at that point.
Yeah, he would lose
Because
his advantage
He
drastically.
would lose his
'cause he-
advantage drastically, which Aizawa said on the microphone for everyone to hear, which was probably super embarrassing to all those people in the crowd, honestly. Like, I would have been embarrassed as heck if I said something about beating up a little girl and then everyone's like, well, he's doing it because he knows that she's actually like a threat if she touches him.
All right.
So
So,
moving
now
on.
we got Deku versus Shoto, which
In my opinion, this is the best fight.
easily, like it's an awakening for Todoroki is all it is, or what it is, not all it is, what it is. Like, I like seeing that. Again, they're human. They have the emotions and stuff. He absolutely hates who his father is and what his father has made him. So, getting Shoto to kind of realize that he is not his father. His quirk is not Endeavor's. Like, just super powerful in my opinion.
I mean, this fight is one of those big. They talk about a few other heroes being able, or a few other students. They're not professionals yet. Some of the students being able to really manipulate the battle just because of their presence on the battlefield and being able to break down the way that a student is thinking and be able to motivate them just by saying the right thing. I think Deku embodies this wholeheartedly in the fact that he is able to take a person who has a natural born almost hatred for him because he resembles so much of All Might, and being able to really be moved by Deku's words and be able to realize that in the moment when Deku reminds him, look, you're a pairing of two quirks, and yes, you share one to a person that you despise, but that doesn't make it his. It makes it yours. Because you can say from this moment how your quirk is used. And that is huge. So huge.
This is where a lot of people compare My Hero and Naruto together a lot, especially in at least some of the groups of like Facebook and stuff I'm in with anime. And this moment here reminds me a lot of Land of Waves, where Naruto calls out Zabuza on being like, you're a piece of shit because you don't want to see who Haku was and everything. And it gets Zabuza to realize that he really is a piece of shit. It's the same concept essentially, where Midoriya brings Todoroki into light of the quirk is yours. Use it how you want to use it. Don't think you're your dad.
Which that actually creates a lot of inner turmoil that we'll see coming out very soon.
Oh yeah, but you see the friendship of those two begin right there, because Todoroki wanted nothing to do with Midoriya for the longest time. After that fight, they are like damn near best friends.
What
but at
we-
the same time, before the fights even happened, Todoroki called out Midoriya as an actual rival.
Yep. And to even expand on that further, Endeavor ends up telling him, do not take it easy on him. You need to hit him as hard as you can. Because he wants to test him to find out what he can do. Which, granted, whenever he uses
Endeavor
his
wants
ability...
Endeavor wants Midoriya to hit Todoroki.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He wants him
Okay.
not hold back. He wants him to force.
That's what I wanted to
Todoroki
double
use
check.
fire.
Yeah. I should have specified specifically in the fact that Todoroki it needs to be tested in Endeavor's eyes that he actually can use the. He has to realize that he is too weak using just his mother's quirk, and he has to use his if he wants to get stronger.
I mean, that
That's
quirk
his goal.
is so good, but it has limitations as to his body gets frozen, and that's why he wanted the hot and cold, so that there's no limitation to either side.
Right, which you also see a couple times. Todoroki just create a giant ice wall by just the slip of his foot. Like,
Yeah.
it literally could have destroyed the entire stadium.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of destroying the entire stadium, if it wasn't for Cementos, I think Midoriya and Todoroki would have destroyed the entire stadium.
Oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
easily.
Whenever they fully open up and they completely power on, which this is
And
also
this is another example. This is one of the very few examples of Todoroki A, not being used to his hot side, and B, not using his brain at all. Because he made
Yeah.
the entire stadium cold and then he hyperheated it, which makes an explosion.
correct. Which
All right,
you
I think we gotta get to this
also
last one. We gotta keep moving.
I know, but
Yeah.
real quick, this is actually another big thing because Healer Girl actually gets very upset with not only Deku but All Might.
All Might,
and the
yeah.
fact that Deku pushed himself so far in this fight that he almost did permanent damage to himself, and to make a point of how close he came to damaging himself just to win and better himself, she refused to heal his hand fully as a reminder. Like,
Which
All right.
honestly is a good thing. It
Yeah.
shows him that his hands aren't the only tools in his arsenal later on.
Right.
And again, I'm not trying to give spoilers away right now or anything, but it's a really good leading up point to where Midoriya takes his version of One for All.
Right.
right.
Correct. All right. Next two fights are both one shots. Ida one shots Ibarra and Tokiyami one shots Ashido. So done with those.
Yeah, not really much to talk about there.
Yeah. Bakugo and Kirishima. It's pretty good. It shows Bakugo's. It shows why Bakugo is one of the best. You know, it's his quirk is one of the best because the later into a fight it gets, the stronger he is because it's based on his sweat. Because he basically is on the defensive from Kirishima the whole match until Kirishima gets tired, and then boom, done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, there's not much else to say about that one.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
Tokoyami destroys Momo in their fight because all she does is create a shield and then just get pushed out of the ring. Like, nothing happens there.
Those fights weren't important at all.
No, but I mean, it does go to show, like, in retrospect of, like, which we talked about earlier, you know, Momo's thought process of, you know, both her and Tokoyami were breaking it down of, I have to respond this quickly because if I don't, then Momo's going to create something big, which is
Not
a
Momo.
problem.
Momo was first round. This is Mina.
Oh, sorry. We're on the second round. My fault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're good. Okay, let's move to the semifinals. Shoto versus Ida.
This shows one of Shoto's weaknesses with his quirk.
Correct.
Very He's very
Correct.
weak to characters that are super fast.
Correct.
Yeah.
The only way he can
But-
beat a character that's super fast is if he happens to land a very, very precise blow on a very vital point of their body, which he does to Ida because Ida doesn't realize that he can do that with his
Correct.
ice.
Correct.
Ida lands a couple good hits though. Ida,
Yeah.
I like Ida. He's strong. He just he has a bigger weakness in my opinion.
He is a paladin at heart, and he has a good power, but he doesn't think.
He doesn't think fast enough to use it some
he
days.
doesn't think
on
too
how
far
to
ahead
use it.
as well.
Yeah.
Correct.
As of right
Which
now.
we see a little bit here in the Stain arc. We're gonna get to next after these fights.
Right. Okay, let's move on to Bakugo versus Tokiyami. This basically just shows off Tokiyami's one and only weakness.
The
Yeah.
sun.
And the only person,
Yeah,
like one of the only people that would exploit that is Bakugo.
Yep. Bakugo's got the stun grenade, which is really the biggest weakness for Tokiyami.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for that, Tokiyami might have won, but nope.
I think it would have been a closer fight. I still don't think Tokiyami would have won.
No.
No,
Not
Because
not
it's-
at this time of
yeah,
day.
Not,
Not at this time of day.
Not at noon. no.
we've discussed if this battle would have taken place at night, it would have been very different.
It would have been a close match.
It would have been a close
Yeah,
match.
yeah.
You'll see later
Bakugo
on.
still might win,
Yeah,
but
you'll see later on that even at night, Tokuyama can be beat.
Right. Well, obviously,
right,
yeah. But
by characters
I'm,
like Bakugo.
I'm just saying the fight would have been very different. The fact that it would have been way closer and not as one-sided.
All right, let's move on to that final Bakugo versus Todoroki.
I mean, it's
Crazy fight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Rhett's very different thinking than me. I believe Todoroki wins if he actually uses his fire side. But go ahead,
I mean,
Rhett.
he could
I
have
don't-
used his fires. I feel like he could have used his fire side to push Bakugo back to control the pace.
I mean,
because-
Bakugo was smart when he went in and grabbed the fire side.
correct,
Yeah.
So he couldn't
absolutely.
use it for defense, but he,
he wa-
just didn't use it at all.
The way I see it is, Bakugo wanted him to use his fire because he's confident that he can beat him with his fire. Because
Correct.
he's,
I still think there's a decent chance that Todoroki wins, though.
and it's the fact that Bakugo can literally make a tornado of explosions, which his fire would just go along with it. Really, it wouldn't be able to. Like what's more potent, explosions or just straight fire?
Right.
So I think that like that finishing move would probably be the same either way, in the end. But
Maybe.
the
I-
match would be
I
way
think Todoroki-
more longer drawn out if he used.
Correct.
His
I don't think
fire.
Todoroki gets knocked out there. I think he stays in the ring and can fight back.
But if he stays in the ring and fights back, the way I see it is, if he stays in the ring and fights back longer, the longer you fight Bakugo, the more you get closer to losing because he keeps.
Unless you can
getting-
make him not sweat by making it all cold.
but you.
You can still sweat in the cold.
Yeah, you can still sweat.
Yeah,
in the
but not
cold,
as much.
But he's
True.
moving around constantly.
It's true.
Constantly.
Yeah, so with this fight though, I agree with you, Jay-Z, that Todoroki could have won this, but I think in the middle of it, Todoroki kind of gave up. Like,
Yeah.
and this is my take
Yeah,
on it. He gave
that's
up
what I'm
on
saying.
it.
Agreed. 100%
Yeah.
agreed.
He realized that yes, he could use his fire, but this
It's
fight's
because-
not worth winning.
It's because in his mind, if he wins because he uses the fire, then that's a big endorsement of Endeavor. And he's still questioning that fact. It's not until after this, it's not until the Stain arc that he realizes he should just do it.
Well, and yeah, it goes back to Deku planting those
Because
seeds
of
earlier.
what he
'cause
does in
he's-
between.
Yeah, when Deku caused that inner turmoil within
Mm-hmm.
Shoto, it literally broke the way he thinks.
Right. Which, two little things in between the arcs. During this, Ida gets a call that his brother's been attacked by a villain. It was Stain, the hero killer.
Who is in my eyes one of the coolest villains of the entire series.
I don't consider him a villain.
He's
Or I
more
guess
of an anti-hero.
more of an anti-hero. Yeah,
Correct.
He's Deadpool, but a lot more
He's-
violent.
Up until they introduced a certain rabbit, he's my favorite character.
Jesus, Jay-Z.
Dude,
She's
Mirko
awesome.
on top, man.
Nick, you'll learn who she is later.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
the other
yeah.
thing that happened, the other big thing that happens in between is Todoroki goes and talks to his mom, which he hasn't done in a long time.
Well, I mean, the last thing you heard about what they did with each other was that she literally threw a kettle of boiling water on his face to try to scar it because his fireside was impossible for her to look at, and was what she said it was.
It reminds me of
Her of
Endeavor.
Endeavor.
Yeah, well, she said it was like ugly, or she said something in particular about
Something
that
like
side.
that.
And she was on the phone when she was originally discussing it, and then like just his voice, like you see, she turns around and like literally has a psychotic breakdown, and Endeavor locks her in a hospital. So like they haven't talked since then, and he has never really forgiven his father for one giving him the look that he does that literally makes him disgusted by his own mother, and the fact that his dad took his mother away from him.
Which, if I remember right, when that happened, he was like 7 or 8 at the time.
Yeah, he was young. Very
Yeah,
young.
Yeah.
he was young. Like, I mean, again, comparing this to Avatar, like Zuko was Zuko was 13.
Yeah,
Yeah.
was super young,
when
too.
he got scarred from the Agni Kai with Ozai. So he's a little bit more mature, but his intentions were correct. Where Todoroki was just trying to say hi to his mother, and she turned and threw it on him.
Right.
all because Endeavor basically destroyed her mentality.
Right.
Correct.
Which that's why this was so huge. Is he goes and talks to her and they forgive each other, and after that he realizes that yes, this is my power.
Yeah.
All
She
right,
kind of re-cements that for him.
Right. Okay. So brief, quick intro to the Stain arc. Stain's the hero killer. He typically kills like 4 people in an area. That's something we find out. He kills what he considers fake heroes. He says the only person that could kill him is All Might because he's a real hero.
He's the only person that embodies what a hero actually
Correct.
is, and he feels that there are too many heroes that are out there for more fame,
Selfish
or,
reasons,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, fame or financial reasons. So those really don't embody where All Might is actually just out to be a hero.
Right. So Shigaraki tries to recruit him because he thinks he's on his side.
Which we
Stain-
skipped over that whole bit, I think.
What do you mean?
That happens in the very. That happens.
Oh yeah, Shigaraki tries to recruit Stain,
It happens right
Well,
at the
no,
beginning of
and
the arc.
like
You might have been
Yeah.
falling asleep, Nick.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Stain then attacks them and could kill Shigaraki, but decides not to because he actually understands that Shigaraki has convictions, which he was going to kill him because he didn't think he had any convictions. He just thought he was evil. But
Yeah. Which you actually brought up kind of a interesting point yesterday, with Stain and Ingenium, and the fact
Yeah,
the original Ingenium specifically.
yeah, so in my mind, in most people's mind, he shouldn't have attacked Ingenium because we know Ingenium is a real hero and he actually has his convictions. But Stain doesn't know that. Stain doesn't recognize people's convictions until they show them to him.
Which
So that's
you
why
have to-
he attacked Ingenium. But he probably, because he left him alive, I believe he saw a little bit of that in Ingenium. Because typically
Because-
he kills him. He just kills him.
yeah, in the Hosu incident and stuff, before a lot of stuff starts going down, he attacks a hero called Native, who I just had to look up to confirm that who it was. What he was planning to execute when certain somebody shows up.
Yeah, when Ida shows up. But back to the League of Villains trying to recruit him. He doesn't want anything to do with them at all.
Well, and this is also like one of the bigger parts where you see, a lot more communication with an unknown entity boss
Yeah.
that you just know exists at this point because they what's the black hole portal guy
Kurogiri.
name again?
Kurogiri.
Kurogiri, yeah.
So like he asks like, do you want me to intervene? And they say no. I want him to get actually like punished for his decisions at this point.
Yeah.
So, that goes to show the mentality of the actual leader of this whole rebellion deal that's going on, along with, it goes to show, that leader's realization in if he really stands by and has convictions, which, Jay-Z, you just brought up, like he's really going to, have this standoff here and he's either going to convert him or, we're going to have a better outcome. If not, he's just going to die.
Right. But they don't convert him, and that pisses off Shigaraki, who asked the unknown leader for some Nomus to unleash on Hosu City.
Correct. Which the reason why I think is still absolutely hilarious in my opinion. He literally just wants to steal the spotlight from Stain. Like he literally
Right.
just like they ask at the end of that after the Nomus have been attacking and everything is going on there. He asks, "Do you are you satisfied with the outcome?" And he says that'll be determined by tomorrow's newspaper.
Right.
He's still got that child
So-
mentality.
Yeah, he does. They talk about he's very immature, which they start to realize too as they talk to him. Like, Eraserhead talks about it pretty big about like he obviously
in
is
the teachers'
a
meeting.
child.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
He's used to throwing tantrums. Everything goes his way.
I wanted to
He's not
say
used to
that
losing.
this was honestly the best thing that could have happened to the League of Villains. Because
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
for
they
sure.
got
For
so
sure.
much public, because he has a childish
Because
mentality,
people
he doesn't know.
Right. Because people linked Stain, who is the most famous person in the country right now, with the League of Villains, which isn't true, but It's
The
enough
way
for
that the
people to believe it.
correlation worked together in just the right timing.
Yep. And it happened because of Shigaraki's childishness.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But let's get into the Stain fight because to me it's the coolest part of the entire season. Stain's trying to kill Native.
Well, so wait, we have to-
Ida
we-
shows up.
We have to even look at something real quick in the fact
What?
that we have to look at something in the fact that Deku wasn't even supposed to be here.
No. The
No.
Nomus attack and him and
He was
Him
going
and
to
Gran
Shibuya.
Torino.
Yeah,
Gran
they,
Torino on the train.
yeah, they were
yeah.
going to
Yeah.
Shibuya, but
Yeah.
it happened to.
They were going to Shibuya.
It literally happened to get invaded by a Nomu while he was over top of Hosu City.
Yep. And Gran Torino tells him stay on the train, get to
But
the
he's
destination.
Deku. He's not going to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That's 'cause
and
he's a natural hero. I mean, he got
Yes.
the text from Ida of like, I'm in trouble with a location, and that was it.
No,
Ida
no.
sent it-
Deku sends the text, and
Does he?
Todoroki
Yeah.
gets it.
yeah.
I think he sends a
Todoroki
text
gets
to
it. That's
every
why
single
Todoroki
person
shows up.
in his class.
Correct.
That's right.
But
Which-
yeah,
And why did-
but he knows Ida's in Hosu. He knows he's
That's
there.
what it is.
Which
And he was
the main
worried
reason,
about him.
The main
because of his
reason
brother.
why that Ida even took the internship there, because he only applied for one internship, and it was in Hosu.
It was
Yep.
to hunt down Stain.
Correct, because he was
Yeah,
blinded
Ida-
by vengeance.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I remember now. Sorry again. I should have
You're
watched
good.
the season
You're
with you
good.
guys. I just again did not have time.
It's
That was
fine.
just a minor detail. You're good.
Yeah, which that's just something we skipped over real quick, but it's
Right.
it's
But yeah,
it
Midoriya
becomes
goes in-
huge.
But anyway, Ida's fighting Stain. You find out Stain's power. Well, you don't right there. You don't find it out, but it's kind of obvious if you're paying attention.
I mean, whenever they bring it out, and the fact that Deku figures it out because
He figured, yeah, but he's not there at this point. Ida's just frozen.
Correct.
Can't do anything.
Okay,
He's
okay, you're
about to
talking-
die, and
Yeah.
boom, here comes Deku, using full cowling, which he had just learned while with Gran Torino, with the dumbest thing ever, learning that most people's microwaves rotate, but his doesn't.
Which that's where you really see his abilities showing up, because as he's training in his internship with Gran Torino, like Gran Torino does bring up All Might is not a teacher. Like he's starting to
Right.
see how much All Might is not a teacher. All Might
Right.
is a hero. He embodies being a hero.
He's a
He
leader.
is-
He's not
yes,
a teacher.
Correct. He is a leader, not a teacher. That is the
Whereas
best way you can put
Aizawa is the exact opposite.
it. Correct. Which
But anyway,
that during that bit, again his intelligence shows up in the fact that everyone All Might had told him that his power is putting an egg in a microwave and trying to get it not to explode, but that's not the whole picture. Part
right,
of it.
because his microwave isn't the same as most people's microwave.
Right, which I almost asked if this was similar to like how Ichigo from Bleach like has to use his spirit pressure at max at all times.
Well, it's because he can't control it.
Well, yeah, he can't control it. Deku literally has to.
Yes.
But
So
But
you
yeah,
see,
so Midoriya shows up, saves Ida from dying, which he was just about to.
which honestly, did you notice that he literally went down that alleyway just from intuition? He stopped.
Yeah.
He stopped, looked at the alleyway, just as Ida did.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can almost feel like they have like that
Right.
spirit.
I understand what you're saying, but he also used his brain because he
Correct.
knew from the news that he likes to be in secluded areas. So he's like, oh, the Nomus are over here. Let's go over there.
Right. But again, that's using his like solid intuition and battle sense.
Yep.
I do wonder somewhat that I know we were talking, and I we're trying not to get too ahead into the series, but like if maybe the other users of One for All, maybe there's something that gives him that extra intuition to go somewhere else. Maybe he senses his friends or something.
Maybe he senses
close
there's
to him.
danger.
He
He might sense
senses
that there's
danger.
danger.
I was waiting to say that the second Lagoza. That's funny.
Yep.
Shut up, Brett.
Anyway,
Sorry, I'm thinking.
That's a pretty good
Yeah,
intuition
yep.
there.
While trying
No,
not
that's
to
good.
give. I'm thinking while
good.
trying not to give spoilers.
you're good. You're good. Anyway, so Midoriya's fighting him, and it's cool to see that he could use his power like that. He's kind of fighting like Gran Torino does.
Kinda, yeah.
which he just, experienced from Gran Torino. But then he gets a tiny little nick, and then boom, paralyzed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which, because he's so analytical, he notices that Stain licked the blood, and that's what it was. He gets it from
But
ingesting
just
blood.
before that happens, he sent out that text
sent out the
to
text,
the
yep.
classmates.
To all his classmates with
Which-
just a location. That's all it is, just his location. And Todoroki
And-
gets it, and he recognizes he wouldn't send a cryptic message for no reason. Let's go.
Well, it's because Todoroki went with Endeavor to Hosu to try and help
To try to find
stop the Nomu.
Well, no, they went there to find the killer, the hero
Oh,
killer.
were they there for Hero
That's
Killer
why,
too? Okay.
Yeah, because Endeavor,
That's right.
number 2 reason for a reason, or number 2 hero for a reason. He's got the judgment. He's like,
Yeah.
he usually kills more people in an area. Let's go there. He's going to be there. So they go to Hosu, but then the Nomus attack. And
But this is a really-
Todoroki tells his dad, go take care of these Nomus. I'm going to go. My friend might be in trouble, but send people if you can.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
Endeavor starts sending them that way because he gets word from Shoto to go to send people out there. And then this is really where you get to see why Endeavor is the number 2 hero. He is so
yeah.
strong.
Judgment,
strong.
intelligence, pure power.
Oh yeah, 100%. He is. You know who I almost envision him as is
I don't know a character named
Here's
Here's my next
I don't know.
D&D barbarian name.
It's,
My character's name is
Hanma.
What's
Hanma.
funny is Nick
Hanma.
thinks he's strong now, but he just
Hanma?
gets even.
Baki?
No, above.
Yojiro?
There you go.
Yujiro? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yujiro Hanma. Yeah. I don't know why. The
Just 'cause
Yujiro is
he's
the.
so strong.
Yeah, he literally is just strong as shit, and he knows it. He knows how strong he is.
The only difference between him and Hanma is there's no one above Yujiro.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, Yujiro is the strongest man to ever live.
I think it's funny, Nick,
Yeah.
that like you say Endeavor's like he's the number 2 hero for a reason, but he
Yeah.
literally this isn't even everything he can do. This is a fraction.
Oh, no, he's not even close.
this
You
is
just get a little tasty
1/100th,
taste.
Yeah, of what he
Oh,
can
yeah.
do.
Well, yeah, but just that taste they give us it's a pretty big taste.
Because at this point, everyone hates Endeavor.
yeah,
Like you just
Yeah.
hate him.
he's a tool.
Yeah.
He's worse than
an
Bakugo
absolute
for
tool.
most people.
Yeah, he's worse, way worse than
this
Bakugo.
His
at this
arrogance is
Easily.
way worse than Bakugo's.
easily.
Yeah.
But
Back to the Stain fight. Again,
Yeah, so
Todoroki shows up just
up.
in time because Stain's about to kill another person, and he right away uses his fire, which is huge.
Yeah, because you see Midoriya get excited for him using his fire. He's like, oh, he's using both sides now.
Yep.
And the fire is the biggest thing that helps him and Midoriya after Midoriya figures out, oh, Stain's paralysis doesn't last forever, and I was the last one to be paralyzed.
But he was the first to come out of it,
Exactly.
and they
So
figure
that's
it
where-
out. That he uses his
Uh-huh.
analytical brain again to figure out it's a blood type thing.
Yes. So yeah, he comes out and just Todoroki and Midoriya just not absolutely wipe the floor, but they just
They put up a
they
good
take
fight.
Stain down, not easily, but
Yeah.
they take him out
It
fairly
takes-
well. I mean,
well, it takes until Ida comes out of paralysis for them to actually beat him. It's a 3v1 to actually beat him, and they only beat him because Stain is changing his tactics and trying to take him out quicker because he knows pros are coming. If he had stayed calm and fought the way he was fighting, he probably would have ended up winning.
Well, yeah, because he even brings up the fact that, he needs to almost start thinking less rationally just to try to...
But if he had
things over
stayed
with.
rational, he probably would have won. But it might have taken longer, and pros would have showed up.
Yep.
Which they beat him. The other pros actually show up, and they realize, oh shit, you guys beat the hero killer. Damn.
Which, coincidentally enough, the reason why he ended up losing is because from the damage that they had caused, that a broken rib pierced his lung.
That's how he finally ended up losing,
Yes.
because not
I know
necessarily how
that
he
feeling
ended
all
up
too well.
here. Right. But during the fight, Stain recognizes that Midoriya and Todoroki are both true heroes. So
Correct.
he doesn't want to kill them. He actually tells Midoriya to leave. He's like, I don't want to kill you. Leave.
Which he actually then ends up saving.
Right, because
Deku from a Nomu.
the flying Nomu that Endeavor
Which is
chasing
being-
comes and steals Midoriya and drops a little piece of blood on that chick's face, and Stain's like, he doesn't say anything, but he's like, I can't let this real hero die. I'm gonna save him. And he
Well, he
also
does
hates,
say
he
one
knows
thing.
he also knows the Nomu's with Shigaraki, and he hates Shigaraki, so he's like, I'm gonna take this Nomu down.
Yeah, Jay-Z Stain does say one thing. He says,
Yeah, he does say that.
Which they do talk about it in the fact that it almost seems like the blood consumption does heal him too. Because
Kind of, maybe.
well, so Deku
Well,
brings
no.
up.
What I'm gonna get to why he says that.
Okay.
We'll get to that. But Endeavor shows up. Stain sees Endeavor, and he's like, "You're the biggest fake. I'm gonna take you on." And as he's walking, he's saying stuff, and everybody is just paralyzed with fear.
Oh yeah.
That's why Midoriya brings up he didn't lick anyone's blood. He didn't paralyze them with his ability. He paralyzed them because they were afraid.
Oh yeah.
His convictions
Of-
were too true.
Yeah, his convictions were too strong. Even the number 2 hero Endeavor could not move in that instance.
Yeah. Whenever he unleashed his full power at that point, because he
Right.
literally like shrouded the area in darkness.
Well, that's just
just
an
aura. Yeah,
animation
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That's,
I know.
That's just his aura. It's not.
No,
an
no.
ability or
I'm
anything.
using it metaphorically. Like
Right.
like just his presence was so large.
Yeah,
you know what I
it
mean.
was just overwhelming.
"Oh yeah."
But then he finally just conks out because yes, his rib pierced his lung.
Yeah. Yep.
And then the head cop. Well, they go to the hospital. Head cop shows up
Wolf.
and he's basically scolding everyone. But he's like,
Rat.
What?
You said woof. It just
oh, yeah. But he's like scolding everyone. But then he more or less says he's on their side, and they're just gonna give Endeavor the credit so nobody gets in trouble.
Because they do start to break down a little bit more of the details of the laws.
Yeah, like they're not
Because
allowed to
they-
use their powers because they don't have a license.
There are a
Well,
lot.
I
of
do-
that in the
I
upcoming
love,
Yeah,
love
upcoming
Totoro.
seasons comes up a lot more.
Dude, I love Todoroki standing up and saying, "So you expected me to just watch my friends die?"
Right.
Like he does make a very solid point. Like, is it not a hero's requirement? Is it not required of a hero to save those in need? Like that goes to show how much that Todoroki actually is a hero.
That is
Oh,
true,
yeah.
but like he also thanks them because all those people, like, they all would have died, and
Yeah.
Native would have died because his job first is to relay that information to them for future. But he, at the end of the day, still agreed with what they did.
Correct.
So, but like he probably should have said that first, like Todoroki said.
Yeah, and
but-
even he says, he's like, "You really should have started with that."
Yeah, because that was really disrespectful. That's kind of a, I don't want to like, he called him a mutt. That's kind of messed
Yep.
up, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Especially with what happens later in the series with all those, all the people that are like later on, like all the mutant type quirks later on. Yeah.
Heteromorphs.
Yeah, heteromorphs.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yep.
like it's a very messed up society at that point for them.
Yep. All right, that's enough of the Stain arc. Let's move on to their final exams before summer break.
This one should go by really quickly because most of these, I only put the ones on the list that got more than like 2 minutes of screen time to begin with,
Yeah.
and these are all the
Yep.
important characters that got development
yeah,
in there.
Let's just do it in the order you put it as well.
Gotcha. First one is Shoto and Momo versus Aizawa. This matchup was based on that Momo looks up to Shoto so much, and Aizawa was the perfect person because these two rely heavily on their quirks.
They don't have physical attributes. They have
Not yet. Nowhere near as many physical attributes as the well, Shoto probably
Right.
does, but he definitely relies too much on his quirk when he's fighting.
Right. Well, he has good physical attributes, but not as good as Racerhead's.
correct.
But yeah. So Momo lets Shoto plan because she looks up to him, and then the plan falls apart. She just loses all of her confidence. She just
Well, she
doesn't
lost
know
her
where she's going, running
confidence.
away.
She lost her confidence in the second round of
You have a
the
Tokoyami
sports
fight.
festival.
Yeah. True.
Because she's played up to be the super smart person,
Right.
But she
On
realized
recommendation.
she's not. Yeah, she realized that she's more brain smart than she is like fighting smart at this
But
point.
that's not necessarily true. Like
She's just- her
in
reaction
broad terms,
time.
she's good at fights, but in hand-to-hand combat, that kind of fight, she's not good.
Yeah,
at.
and her,
Yes, but she tries to
which-
she tries to analyze like Midoriya does, but she doesn't analyze fast enough to create
Right.
at the same time.
Right, but Aizawa and Todoroki both realize that she's lost her confidence, and Aizawa was like, I want to instill confidence in her, but not right now. He's like, I got to be a villain right now. But Todoroki, when he realizes it, he's like, you know what? You need to make the plan, because my plan failed. He tells her that she is a better leader. He was the one who voted for her to be the leader. So he's like, make the plan, let's do it. And then her plan works.
Well, and then
She-
before they even get to that point, whenever they're going with Todoroki's plan, he tells her to keep making small objects, which
Right, which
yes,
is
she
smart.
she keeps making the nesting dolls. However, she thought ahead even further for her own plan, because you see her in the very beginning, she's creating the nesting dolls and she's sticking them in her waistband. And he's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm just keeping a couple of them around," and then she keeps making them.
Yeah.
because they got concussion grenades inside.
Yeah.
Correct. They're just concussion grenades, which was smart, and that's how she gets Todoroki free, because Aizawa clearly caught Todoroki. But then they go with her plan, and it works. But she thinks Aizawa lets him win, but Aizawa was like, "No, I was afraid that Todoroki was going to use his quirk, so I had to get out of there," which gave her time to then do her thing.
Because he couldn't see Todoroki. He had that entire
Correct.
black draped
Yep.
thing on him. So like he could use his quirk without
So,
restraint.
Yeah.
There's
Correct.
also the fact that you have to figure Aizawa is weak. He's weaker now than when he started the show.
Which he
because
figures that Momo probably knows. But
she does.
is
They
that
show
true?
she does.
Yeah.
Probably.
No, they show she does.
Oh, that's true, she does, but-
she specifically tells Todoroki.
but still-
she even like
but
labels
still-
what like that it takes longer for him in interval between them, and he can't
Right.
hold his eyes open as long anymore either.
Right, but if he had noticed that she faltered, which he did, and then attacked her, he probably still would have came out on top, because Todoroki's not going to throw fire at Momo.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's like, oh, Todoroki could have used his quirk, so I had to get out of there, blah, blah, blah.
Which it's a valid
then-
point. Like he could have.
It
used
is.
his
It is
quirk, yeah.
absolutely a valid point. Absolutely a valid point. Because it wouldn't matter if he froze Momo, he can unfreeze her.
I think if Todoroki didn't have that disguise on, he would have
Right.
just went after because he would have been looking at him, took his quirk, and then been able to take her.
Right. So, Shoto and Momo, they pass. Let's move on to Asui and Tokiyami versus Ectoplasm. This one's really cool because Asui is one of my favorite characters, and it really shows off what she can do as part of a team. Not herself, but as part of a team.
When you see that during her internship too,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
like
She's
in her
a very
internship,
good support
she
character as
her
well.
her internship episode is anime canon only, but I love that episode.
Oh yeah. I think they just need to give her a
Ectoplasm-
little bit more screen time too, because I think she does deserve it. Because yeah, I do believe that she
Oh,
actually
she
is.
does.
Oh, she gets so much. She gets one of the most screen times. Like
Yeah.
she's just
Ectoplasm
she's a great
is just
character.
a really good teacher as well to use
Yeah.
for this test because of his cloning quirk.
Right. Yeah, and then they get captured. Like they should lose, but Froppy thought ahead and was like, "Look
she
away!
always
I
stays
don't
calm.
need you to see this." And she pukes up the cuffs,
Yep. 'Cause she has the ability to swallow and regurgitate stuff.
and then gives them to Dark Shadow, which Dark Shadow puts them on.
Yep.
Ectoplasm.
The fact
Well, I mean,
that
I
they
think
hide those
she-
in the shadow too is pretty crazy. Like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Ectoplasm clearly did not see those cuffs. I'm not gonna lie.
Nope.
No, he did not.
Well, and even
was- it
like
was
he
genius.
used Todoroki used the
Tokyo.
no, sorry, Tokoyomi used his quirk to be able to steal a headband in the
Yeah.
cavalry battle. You know,
Yeah.
it's definitely maneuverable to that.
Tokiyami's so good.
Oh yeah. But they end up passing because of that. They cuff
Yep.
Ectoplasm.
All right, let's move on to Jiro and Koda. This one was rough.
Finally get to see Koda do something. in
Koda
this
finally does
goddamn
something,
series.
everyone.
Dude, I can't help but feel like Koda could be like Shino in Naruto, bro. He
Yeah.
That's
could,
literally
but he's just
a better version, honestly. Well, for all
just-
animals.
Well, only-
for
only-
all animals, yeah.
Right, because he can also control animals. Yes. That is,
once
that's
I
fair.
actually realized that Mike was actually making Jiro like her ears bleed. Like I was like, oh dude, he is destroying her right now. Koda better do something.
That's yeah. 'Cause this is the absolute worst matchup for Jiro by far.
Which Mike again, he's such a great character.
I love that dude.
Present Mike.
Like I want to not like him, but I do. I like
know.
him.
Whenever we were,
He's
we
so
were,
cheesy.
we were watching it yesterday, and I caught a little detail about. They said when Present Mike was born, he almost burst the eardrums of everyone in the room. But
Yeah.
we know that you don't get your quirk until you're around 4 to 6 years old.
I think it's typically you don't get your quirk, but I'm sure there's some that are born with theirs right away, like
So
his.
his-
Yeah,
his
but
would've been,
I just
yeah.
thought it was a little detail that should be said because like it's kind of like a
Oh,
little
yeah.
because they also do say that the very first person was born with a light, like they were born and sort of glowing up as well. So like
Yep.
Exactly.
Right.
So it might be
they-
just more rare that you. It's more common that you have a quirk, but it might be more rare that you have it at birth.
Right. But yeah, they end up passing because Koda actually does something, and he uses bugs to go underground where the sound doesn't travel and attack Present Mike.
It's also
I
fantastic.
love his voice too, because you expect it. You don't expect much
Yeah,
out
he's
of it.
like this big
but it's
guy.
just- this big guy, but it's just, come on, little friends, let's go do this now. We gotta win. Go get. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yep.
I love how Jiro's like, you can talk,
Yeah.
because he hadn't said one word throughout the entire show yet.
Right. All right, let's move on to one that we don't want to put on this list, but it was actually good. Mineta and Sero versus Midnight.
Mineta.
Sero's
man.
knocked out immediately, but he
Yeah, he
saves
saved
Mineta.
Mineta, bruh. But
Yeah.
they
And then
wouldn't have
Mineta
won.
starts running away, screaming because he doesn't get to lay in Midnight's lap.
I doubt they would have won if Sero escaped and Mineta.
Yeah, if it was the opposite,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have
Yeah,
won.
because she was near the exit. And if they
Right.
come near the exit, it's
There was no way
was
for him
no
to get
way, yeah.
past. But Mineta actually used his brain and actually did something this season.
He's the
and
ninth
he-
smartest person in their class as of right now, which is pretty impressive for him. So,
Right. And then he traps her with his dumb move, Grape Rush, but hey, it works.
Oh yeah.
I also, I will admit, I give Mineta credit in this one. He is the most annoying character in this series.
Oh, yeah,
period.
by far.
But him thinking to use Sarah's tape to like essentially gag himself so he
Yeah.
can't breathe in the stuff was a great way to like win that challenge.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's
I also
enough.
just love him dragging Sarah to the finish
Oh,
line.
Yep. All right, that's enough about that one. Let's move on to the biggest one, Deku and Bakugo versus All Might.
I mean, this is just a huge thing that they talk about from the very beginning, where the two of them don't have any compatibility with each other because it's very one-sided on each side. You know,
Yep.
Deku really feels like
All
they
Might's
need to work
unstoppable.
together.
Yeah,
And
Deku feels they need to work together. Deku's also terrified of All Might because he's too in love with him. He thinks he has zero chance against him.
He thinks
whereas
he's a god.
He doesn't
Bakugo's-
look at All Might as a villain in this challenge too. He's still looking at All Might as
Right.
his mentor.
Right. Which Bakugo uses his brain is like, listen, All Might's too fast. We're not going to outrun him. We've got to fight him.
that is very true. Like,
But he also doesn't want to fight with Deku.
yeah,
Correct.
like their only
Which
option was to do
ultimately-
that. What they did was to fight him and then get him off guard to escape.
Yeah.
Was the only option
Yep.
they have, and I
Best part of it is when Deku saves Bakugo by punching him in the face.
yeah, that was pretty cool. Because that also
Oh.
off guarded All Might too, because he thought he was gonna
Yeah.
punch him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, really, All Might could have chased them back down and could have pulled them back out.
He
but
was
didn't.
he was at his limit at the end.
I'd say he was at his limit at that point because the longer the show has gone on, the more he's used it. His
was
limit
like
has gotten
57
shorter. He said
minutes.
he can do it like
He's-
yeah,
for
it was
an
like-
hour a
it was
day.
like twice. Yeah, it was like 1 hour a day.
Well, it
and
was
it's the
3
farther-
hours, and then he was forced to use it
in the USJ.
in the
in the
USJ.
USJ, which knocked
that
him down to about
reduced
an
it-
hour.
Yeah.
and
so-
it's just only
yeah.
gotten lower from there. So at this point, he's probably their fight went on. It was what, like 20 minutes or something like that. Their fights were.
Yeah,
Like,
but
that's
he
the
had
time
been in
limit?
his hero form for a little
Before,
bit before
yeah.
that.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's where I feel that he lost that time he needed in like prime time to fight them, because they were
Plus-
the last matchup.
Yeah, plus he was weighted down and he had to use more of his power to actually move.
I absolutely
So
love
it
whenever
reduced the
he.
time even further.
Yeah, whenever like he's like, God, why do you make these things so
He
heavy?
had 2 on each wrist and 1 on each ankle, bruh. Like that is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
much weight.
And I know that this fight was not on the list, but I just want to throw out there that one of my favorite fights of it as well. I believe it's Ashido and Aoyama when they're fighting the principal.
No, it's Ashido and Kaminari.
Kaminari.
Was it Kaminari?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
bad.
because the principal is just great.
The principal is just like, I'm gonna drink my tea and wreck the city,
Yep.
and
Well,
that's it. And it
His
literally was.
quirk, his quirk, bro, is so cool. And the fact
It's
that he's
so
just
broken.
a
And we'll talk-
super intelligent animal.
And we can talk about him later. I just want to throw that out there. Like, that's another really, really good one. Even though it's a very short one, it's just very funny.
His maniacal laugh is great.
I cannot believe
Yes.
they paired Kaminari and Ashida together, bro.
The two dumbest.
kids in the class are on the same.
But I think that was the
team.
point, though, was to see if they could get them to think together. Like, go at least get both of their single brain cells to work together.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, the Deku and Bakugo are forced to work together, and they come up with a plan where Deku uses the grenade from Bakugo's arm and
No, we
shatters his
We
shoulder.
were talking about that before. That Bakugo has the biggest shoulders out of all the students, and it's because whenever he uses his gauntlet, it produces so much force that like Deku, like he literally gets injured in his shoulder from using the gauntlet,
Yep.
which is crazy. That's just how much
And then-
explosive power is in
Yeah.
those things.
And then they use that plan to get it to basically where Deku could just run away and win. But he comes back and he saves Bakugo, and they still win. Because it just threw All Might off so far that he couldn't fight back.
I think it's also crazy that All Might can punch from the middle of the city and it goes all the way to the exit. Like that's crazy amount of force.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, are we going over lists or?
Real quick, we should talk about the Shigaraki Mall incident. Just real quick.
Okay.
Shigaraki and Midoriya run into each other at the mall.
He finally gets all of his convictions cemented in the pace.
And he basically could kill Deku, but he just more or less wanted to scare him.
Yep.
And I can't believe that. It just shows you how much he grew within like a day. That he didn't kill Deku. He didn't go crazy. He didn't freak out. He just stayed calm, even when Uraraka showed
It's
up.
like he learned that he needed Stain to do all this stuff, and that Stain's going to be the reason that his entire organization grows
Succeeds.
Yep.
and succeeds.
Yep.
Yeah, even though they were really never going to end up being on the same team, but he's going to use
Right.
that info to his advantage. He's like becoming
Right,
a
because
child
of
to
that-
like a 16-year-old at this point.
Yep. And because of that, we see a few members showing up to the League of Villains.
I'm gonna give them a quick shout
Some
out.
important
because
ones for next season. We don't really need to talk about them yet.
You don't even want to give their names.
No,
Were
not
their
yet.
names even given?
Yeah, well, he said he goes by Dobby, and she said, like, remember she like puts like the
Dobby,
peace signs up, and she
Himikatoga.
goes,
Yeah.
Himikatoga.
Yeah, those were the only two at this point. Okay,
I think
yeah,
we
let's
see the
let's
others,
get
but
into
yeah,
our
we
list.
don't know their names yet. So yeah, let's do lists here real quick.
Do we want to start from the bottom or
Yes,
do we want
sir.
to start
Yeah.
from the top?
Yeah, start from the
Start
bottom.
from the bottom.
This is our
Which,
rankings
I mean,
for Class 1A.
We were talking about this before we started here with some of it, and
No,
I mean, I'll
people
start us
moved.
off with this.
People moved.
Number 20, Hagakure. Still,
No.
and I will defend that to the
Mine-
end of time
mine
until
is
she
Aoyama.
does something useful.
Mine is Aoyama.
She did
as
do
well.
something useful.
Mine's
Hagakure
Aoyama.
did.
Aoyama number 20.
She got naked and walked around and cuffed.
Yeah, she's the only reason they passed that test.
Okay, that's
She did
it.
a thing.
That's
She did
the
a
only
thing.
thing she
Aoyama
did.
did
Yes, but
nothing.
Aoyama did literally nothing.
So she's got 1 point above Aoyama.
All right.
She's still at the bottom.
What? All right, move to your 19.
My 19.
Yes. Well, let's
Mineta.
just keep you going first.
All right, Mineta.
Also,
he's
does
still-
not deserve to be down there at all.
I have Ojiro.
Not this season. I have Sato.
I have Sato as well. We're 2 for 2.
Sato and Ojiro are pretty much interchangeable at this point. They didn't do anything, more or
They
less.
didn't.
Ojiro only gets a point because his team did pass the test.
Yeah, which he didn't feel like he should continue even because.
Well,
he
that was
random.
in the cavalry battle.
Well, I know, but it's like he hasn't done anything.
Well, him and Ida passed the final exams,
Yeah,
but it wasn't necessarily due to him.
correct.
But yeah, go to
Retsu,
your
who'd you
18.
have? Retsu, who'd you have?
18.
Oh, I had
No, no,
Sato.
who did Red Two-
I had Sato as well.
Okay.
18. I had Aoyama.
Yeah. Okay, I had Ojiro.
'Cause-
Mineta.
I had Hagakure.
Oh, that's still too low for Mineta this
Dude,
season.
no! Dude,
Yes.
Mineta is. Dude.
Okay, so he thought on his feet for once.
Yes, he did something.
You also got to think
But
he's
that's the only
also
thing he
he's also
did.
the ninth
Yeah, that's-
smartest person in class. Too.
Yeah, but he doesn't use it like he should. He is.
But he
a-
did.
He did.
He
He
did.
did.
Barely.
Once.
Once.
Yeah,
Once.
one
That's
time.
more than everybody else below him on my list. Everybody below him didn't
Nah.
do anything except for Koda. And Hagakure.
Okay. 17. Did we say who everybody's 18s were?
Yeah.
No. Oh, yeah, yeah.
No. Yeah.
Wait, Rhett.
maybe.
Rhett, who was yours?
Hagakure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. 17.
17. I had Ojiro.
I had Koda here.
I have
he
Koda.
could be
I
higher.
have Koda as
but
well,
He does one thing, and it's only because Jiro's ears are bleeding.
which is really
And
good.
I
Yeah.
placed him there because his quirk is absolutely bonkers powerful. He's just not using it to his extent.
could be. Could be.
I'll see. I had him a little bit higher because his quirk is way more useful than
That's fair. That's
what
fair.
it's at right now.
So
okay,
if he improves that, I will
Oh
absolutely
yeah, he
move him
moves up
instantly.
He moves up
Oh
if
yeah,
he does
he
stuff.
moves up. He moves up significantly
and he
later
will.
on.
He
but
will.
okay, 16.
16.
16. I had Ashido.
This is where I have Hagakure.
Same with me.
I've got Ojiro.
Okay. So Ojiro's 16, 17, 18. Not he didn't do much overall for any of us.
No.
Yeah.
I like him a lot. He was a lot higher season 1, but this season he didn't.
but this
do a
season
lot.
just not so much. But yeah, Ashido she was absolutely useless this season.
She
too,
did
like-
like we talked about. She did one really really good thing. She helped them pass the exam. But I
No,
feel
her,
like
she did not pass the exam. Her team
Her
sucked.
her and Kaminari failed.
She made it far in the sports
she was in the
festival.
top 16 and she won the first round.
Yeah, but that's it.
15.
15. I had Sato.
I have Ashido.
This is where I have Mineta.
This is where I have
'cause he
Mineta.
did
Okay.
a thing. Because he did a
Okay.
thing.
I mean, fair enough. 14. I had Kaminari because again,
14. I also have
useless.
Kaminari because he was mostly useless, but he did at least make it to the top 16.
Yes.
I have Shoji at 14.
Same.
Okay.
I have Shoji a lot higher than I should, honestly, because he didn't do too
yeah,
much.
same.
He's just good.
He's very versatile. He has some things he can do. His team won a couple of times or scored
I was about
well.
to say, he was more useful in the cavalry battle than he was towards the end.
Well, yeah, because him and Mineta partnered up.
Yeah.
Well, and and
14
Asui.
or 15 or 13.
13. 13. I had Koda
13.
because again, I felt his way he won or finished the exam was stronger and more heroic than Mineta.
That's fair. I have Ashido here because again, she actually won a round in the sports festival.
I got the Sugar Man at 13.
That's
Sato.
way too high for him.
That's-
I love
yeah, it's
his
a little too
quirk.
high.
I like him, but he just didn't do anything.
I got
He
Kaminari.
didn't really do. He didn't do a lot, but you can see the potential of what he can do, and that
Right.
And they haven't. They've shown that it's not necessarily been him that's caused him to fail every time.
Kind of.
It
He
kind
didn't
of.
use his brain.
Well, yeah, but by that logic,
Okay.
he's still above Ashido for sure.
Oh yeah.
Not for me.
Number 12. I had Sero.
Zero.
I got Shoji here.
I have Ashida.
Okay.
Again, probably higher than he should be, but I think he's a good character.
11. I had Shoji.
Oh, we swapped. I had Sero.
I have Asui.
I have my
I
least
have
favorite
Asui at 11.
character, Ochako.
Asui all the way down there.
And you have Ochako way down there? What's wrong with
Yeah.
you?
I agree with that.
She's down there, bruh. She had one good moment throughout the
that's
entire season.
It was a big good moment, though.
That's why she's in the middle of the
Yeah.
list.
But I have her higher because of her
She's in the
growth
middle of
in,
my
like,
list as
knowledge and
well, but
stuff.
she's
Yeah.
higher in the middle.
I'll argue my reason why
Oh no!
Uraraka is higher.
I remember last
We'll
night we
get.
were talking about
Let's
that.
say we'll get there when we get to. When
Yeah, we'll
everybody gets to
get there.
Uraraka. Number 10. I had Jiro.
I did too.
I had Jiro as well.
I have Ida.
She dropped.
Okay.
Okay, that's way too low for Ida in my opinion, but that's fair.
So coincidentally enough, my number 9 is Jiro. So
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Jiro, I have Jiro. She dropped from last time here because she was mostly useless, but she's still so good. She's just a good character, good power.
Yeah, and her quirk again, I feel has a lot of potential once she learns to use it better.
Yeah.
So number 9, Nick said that he had Jiro at 9.
so the reason
I
why
had Tokuyami.
the reason why I have
that's so low.
the reason why I have those two flipped is because I feel like Ida lost perspective where
Yeah, but he got it back pretty quick.
Yeah, but Jiro never lost perspective. She
That's
never
fair.
lost it. She maintained, she understood, she kept a cool headspace. She helped motivate Coda in their
Yeah,
match.
but she mostly did nothing.
But that doesn't change the fact that she is motivational to the point where she is helpful to the team. Mm-hmm. And she never loses her cool.
I have Sero
Yeah,
at number 9.
that's a fair-
yeah,
that's
that's
fair.
pretty good.
You said
number
you have
9
Sero at 9.
Yeah.
Number 9 I have Kirishima.
Tokuyami.
Kirishima took too many L's. He had some dubs, but he took too many L's.
Ah, damn,
I
you're
put
making me
Sero
rethink
at
my
nine.
answer.
Tokoyami,
because he-
you have Tokoyami way too low.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with
I
that.
put Sero at 9 because he did so well in the sports festival.
He did. Sarah's good.
You did.
Tell you
You
what,
did
I'm
well.
changing mine up a little bit.
On the fly, let's go.
On the fly.
We're on 8 now.
Yeah.
All right. 8, I had Yaoyorozu.
Man,
Because
you be putting these guys way too low.
Again, Yaoyorozu, like, yes, she did really well in the
She did well everywhere.
final exam, but like, I don't know, she can't think and create together at the same time. She needs like lots of time to plan ahead.
But she
which
is
again,
super
but she's
intelligent.
Batman. She gets time.
she's
she
super
wins.
intelligent. Yes, if she has the time, but the trick is she didn't have the time in the beginning, and the only reason she got the time was because Todoroki was fighting.
Also, the one main thing you have
So-
to look at too, which is part of the reason why mine's higher, is why she's higher on mine is that
She's the
whenever they
smartest.
walk into the final test, she had already formulated a perfect plan to
Yeah, she
deal
had
with
the
it.
plan. She just didn't use the plan.
She
because
just didn't have the confidence to
yielded.
tell
Yeah, she didn't
Todoroki.
think her plan would be as good as Todoroki's
Which is why
plan.
she's still so low on my list for this season, because she doesn't have that
She's
confidence.
got it
in
now,
herself.
baby.
She gets it. She gets it back.
Yeah,
She's
gets
got it
right
now,
back.
but we'll
Well,
see.
and
We'll see where she stands on season 3.
That's just it. Is like if she wouldn't have had that huge confidence boost by the end of the season, then she would be lower. But because she got that,
Oh, yeah.
she's way higher on mine.
Which what number are we on?
Eight.
now?
Fair enough. We
8.
are
Oh.
on 8.
Yeah, this is my Uraraka.
Okay.
At Deku.
I have Kaminari.
Uraraka moved up 4 because she did.
Did you say
some
you have
stuff.
Deku?
Yeah.
I have Deku at 7.
Deku for me is 5.
Who's your 7, Nick?
My 7, Kirishima.
Kirishima?
Yeah.
My 7 is Uraraka.
Mine's Asui.
Okay, so we swapped. Or no, we didn't swap, but awesome.
Because yeah, Uraraka, she's getting better, and that's the thing I love
Yeah,
about her. Is
that's
she's
why she
thinking
moved
more
up.
on her toes with things. That's why she moved up for
Deku
me.
moved up for me too because he kind of knows how to use his quirk now. Finally.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that he falls
Uh,
over in their little sprint on the pipes.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6. I had Kirishima.
I have Ida.
I
have
Kirishima.
Uraraka.
Ida could have been higher, but yeah, he had that lack of perspective, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Kirishima, actually, shifted with somebody on the fly here. So
So basically, Legozo and I were flipped on 6 and 7. So I put Uraraka
I
at
had
6.
Kirishima up at number 3 until you brought up a really good point, Jay-Z, and I'm like, that needs flipped.
Yeah.
All right. Rhett, who was your number 6?
Kirishima.
Hey.
He just does so well in every time he's on screen. Good character.
He's one of my favorites by
his
far.
quirk's good.
Especially
Yeah,
later.
he's not the brightest, but he definitely is like he's got the heroism to
Here
him.
in probably 2 seasons, he might be my number 1.
He's just when he's on screen, you like him. That's just what's going
Absolutely,
on.
Yeah.
I love Kirishima. He dropped for me just because of all the L's he did take.
Yeah, fair. Number 5, I had Ida.
I eat it as well.
I have Asui here.
Okay.
Asui
Midoriya.
did a lot. She showed a lot. She got her own freaking episode.
Yeah. I have Midoriya at 5.
She's
I
great.
mean, just like if it wasn't, if it wouldn't be for everything that happens throughout this season, he would probably be lower. But Midoriya being, with the development that he's gathered, getting Gran Torino as his intern leader, intern supervisor, everything that happens throughout that whole sequence, and then everything that he does throughout the Hozu fight, definitely put him higher for me.
Honestly, Deku's only as low as he is for me because I still don't like him.
I mean, yeah, I don't like him, but
That's the only reason he's number
never
7.
liked
for me.
Deku, so
He,
he'll
he
always
should
be
be higher.
below number 10 for me. That was a joke. That was a joke.
All right, number 4, I had Midoriya at 4 because
This
he
is-
did grow a lot this season, and
Right here. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. Right here is
grew
where
a lot this season,
Tokiyami
he got
belongs.
strong. Stronger.
Tokiyama is number 4 for
This
me.
is where Tokiyami belongs.
see, I put Bakugo at 4.
oh,
I
shit.
don't hate that you have him. I understand what you have him. And go ahead and explain it.
So here's my thing. So I broke this down for Jay-Z a little bit ago, and once he saw my full perspective on it, he kind of agrees. So
I don't agree.
yeah, you don't agree, but,
But
you
I agree
understand it.
that you understand that way.
Yes. So in my view, which this is the argument that we keep having, is that Bakugo, in my eyes, is an arrogant child. And the thing about it is the argument that we keep having is, in my mind, Bakugo is being forced to adapt, not be willing to adapt. So, granted, yes, he's super intelligent. He's top of the class. He won the sports festival. Like, granted, yes, he is super powerful. He understands his quirk. He's super intelligent, but he is an arrogant child. If he, every leader, superior, supervisor that he has all says he has the same problem. He is not thinking about the team. He's only thinking about himself. He is very cocky in my view, which apparently I'm getting confused for confidence. But I still say he's way too cocky. Yes, he has a lot
Season
of
1 cocky, season 2 confident.
but I don't. I see the confidence.
He's still cocky in season 2 when he
Yes.
walks up on stage. He's like, "I'm gonna win
That's
it all."
that's
And he's
confidence.
still-
That-
absolutely
that's
calm. They
confidence.
literally say that's confidence because
Yeah.
normally he's like screaming and stuff, but he was
Because
just quiet.
Midoriya,
He's like,
the
"I'm gonna
moment he
win."
walks off stage, goes, "Oh, he's confident. Like he thinks he's gonna win the entire. Like he
And
knows
I'll-
he's gonna win."
I'll-
I still see it as cockiness.
I don't know.
I'll give it to you.
If-
Yes, his
No,
confidence
if he was being
grows.
cocky, he'd be bragging. He's literally
Yeah.
just stating.
Right,
fact
but,
that someone
but think about what he
states that
says.
he's being
Think about what he
confident-
says to all the other students. He literally isn't even taking the time to learn their names
that
because
they
in
don't
his mind
matter.
they're inferior to him. That's
beyond.
so cocky.
That's not. That's
Yeah,
just, that's
that's
a
co- that's
superiority
cockiness at that point.
complex. That's not being cocky.
Well, yeah, he absolutely has a superiority complex, and I feel like that's part of what drags him down for me.
That's fair. That's
Fair
why.
enough.
That's why he's
All
not
right.
my number 1.
Yeah, Jay-Z, who did you have at 4?
I had Tokiyami.
I had it as well. Tokiyami.
Okay.
Me and Rhett's top
number
4 are basically the same.
Number 3.
Tokiyome.
Momo.
Mo.
Asui.
Oh, I love that you have Asui there. I love it. I love it so
Yeah,
much.
She didn't do well.
Asui moved up quite a bit on this list for me.
What's it called for me? The sports festival. She didn't do too well in the sports festival. That's why I have her below,
Yeah.
a little bit lower than that.
Outside of the sports festival, she does belong at number 3, I believe.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it. Is I kind of ignored the sports festival with her, but she didn't do great in it. But overall, she's very intelligent. Her quirk's very useful.
Absolutely.
Great support.
All right, top 2 now.
Everyone's gonna have the same
number
number
two.
1 except for me. I'm gonna tell you guys right now.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. Number 2, I had Bakugo.
Bakugo.
I have Momo.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I like that.
Okay,
Hanshi. I obviously have
okay.
Todoroki.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, so we know who your number one is, obviously.
Ratsu glazes for Bakugo.
Well, I have every
Yeah, he
valid
does.
reason other than what, like, how you said, like, I agree that you can put someone above someone just if you like their character or not, because that's how we're making the list.
Right.
But, like,
So
go ahead.
it's pretty obvious that everyone but you has Todoroki at number 1 and you have Bakugo. And my reasoning, which is probably the same as the others, is they are 1 and 2 for most of us. But Todoroki is just more likable at this point.
He is more likable.
Which is very, very important for a hero.
But, yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
and I didn't really base my list off of likability this time, like I
Same.
did somewhat last time.
Well, no, the only
I
only
strictly
point that
went-
makes a difference is between the two, obvious or honestly.
True, but I went more with like Bakugo. Still, he has the confidence / cockiness we just talked about, but Todoroki, he's grown. I haven't seen Bakugo grow much, other than like, okay, he's slightly more intelligent.
He
with
has
stuff.
grown, but yes, Todoroki's grown
But compared to Todoroki had a big waking up moment of this is my life. It's not anybody else's. Where Bakugo's still like, I'm gonna beat everybody.
more. Yeah.
I will be
It's-
the greatest
it's that-
hero. I will surpass All Might.
Exactly. He's not thinking of the bigger picture. He's thinking of a single point. So that's why I have Todoroki in 1 still. I'm sure it'll change next season.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Season 3 is
maybe.
Bakugo's season. I forgot to tell you that, Hanshi. So be
Okay, fair.
prepared.
Don't get dude.
Bakudeku, man.
Bakudeku.
Bakudeku.
Yeah. It's their season.
Yeah, we'll get there though.
It's always
there.
Deku's season, but
Right,
So-
right. But no, the next season's when Deku's gonna probably get up top 3 for me.
Oh, easily.
But Bakugo is probably
yeah, the
gonna
reason
win.
I got Bakugo at number 1 is just because he outperformed Todoroki in every aspect except for growth, obviously.
Yeah.
But growth is a
Correct.
very huge growth is such a big factor in anime / manga that it can obviously for some like a lot of people outweigh the other attributes of a ranking list, which I completely understand.
Right.
I don't understand why he's at 4 for Hanshi, but
Right.
yeah, that's all I pretty much got on that.
All right. I think it's time to wrap her up.
It's My Hero episode. That's all you, Logo.
So yeah, thanks for joining us again in My Hero for My Hero season 2. Hope everyone enjoys it. Please make sure enjoys it. Wow, English. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Deuces.